Ooh, get my music on. These gloves are supposed to work with a touchscreen, but they don't. Thanks, Joe Rocket. Two-door coupe popping out like Jack in the Box. Hell yeah, bud. Ah, I love this bike so much. It's definitely much more special. Woo! It's definitely much more special. You can ride the Harley for a while and then you hop on this thing. Man, telling you. Then here it is. 2019 Suzuki GSX-S750. See the S right there? It's a GSX-S750. It's a little bit different. Sorry, getting quiet. This Acura is spooking me. He's getting way too fucking close for my comfort. Alright. Sorry guys, that Acura was spooking me. Oh, he was spooking me bad. Man, the Acura was scaring the shit out of me. He was so close to me. But yeah, here we are. Been meaning to ride it. I had to wash it. Like, I guess I'm gonna say every one of my fucking videos. The pollen. I already actually washed it. There's still pollen all over the bike. But I had to stay outside in the pollen for a few days while I was riding the Harley, so this thing got coated. It got coated. Looking like when the British lose a war. They got the coats on. That was a stupid joke. What the hell? Yeah, man, this thing looking like a goddamn banana. It was so coated in pollen. Yeah, got a little washy, so I figured I'd bring it out. And I wanted to give y'all some of my thoughts on it. There's actually not a lot of people that have reviewed this bike that have done stuff on it on YouTube. So I figured I'd let you guys know a little bit too. Now, this bike has been in existence for quite a while actually in one form or another. So, for a while in Europe, they sold a bike called the Suzuki GSR. And it had a few different generations. And the last one they made was the GSR-750, which is basically the father of this bike right here. Now in I want to say it was 15, they came out with the GSX-S750 for the first time. And it was a GSR. I mean, that's literally what it was. It was that GSR 750, which the GSR was still called the GSR in certain places. Now, what they did was they finally brought it here because Suzuki saw that the naked bikes were getting more popular, so they brought it to the US. Now, the general consensus was no one liked the bike. They didn't like how it handled, they didn't like how it stopped, and they didn't like the power. So basically the big complaints were you were getting the high-end power like a sport bike, but you weren't getting enough high-end power. You didn't have that low-end power like you did on the 07 or the 09. So people were kind of like, hey, let's just get an 07. Let's get any of the other nakeds on the market. And people just did not like the bike. Damn, officer, getting close when you're going around me. Even the officers are spooking me today, man. But yeah, so this is a 19. It's 18 and the 20s are the same. But they did make some big changes. They changed the styling a bit. The styling's either a love it or hate it kind of styling. There are people that absolutely love it. There are people that absolutely hate it. Now, the headlight looks a little funky. I think that's what gets most people. The headlight's not the best looking headlight in the world. Once you get after the headlight, it honestly looks like a sport bike without fairings. Now, the tank section, the tank looks a little beefy because the tank's a little bit bigger. It's a standard, they want you to go a little bit farther. It's a little bit wider. You still got these nice areas to grip your legs on it. And I'm 6'1", and I actually have tons of leg room down there. Now that cut is fairly high, because even though this does still have a rear set style kind of foot peg, they are set lower and they are set further forward than they are on a Gixxer or on an R1 or a Ninja. Yeah, Ninja. So it's a little bit more comfortable. Now when I say a little bit more comfortable, it's quite a bit more comfortable, but you are still leaned over. This does have, you know, kind of drag bars on it, but they are still very low. I've ridden a Z300. I've ridden the last Honda CB650, not the current one. The last one that still kind of had the same styling as this bike. And I have ridden an MT-07. I will say, and I'm sitting on 09, haven't ridden it, but I'm sitting on it. And 09 sits relatively the same as a 7, just feels like more for adult-sized people, I'll say. Now, this, of the kind of sport naked class, all the ones I've tried, it's the most aggressively seated. You do sit, you know, you do sit more like a sport bike. It feels more like a sport bike. And speaking of sport bikes, this is what sold me on this bike over the other bikes. When you get on it, it feels like a sport bike. When you go through the corners, it feels like a sport bike. When you get on the brakes, it feels like a sport bike. So in all intents and purposes, in my opinion, this is a poor man's Gixxer. So this thing's stock for stock. There's a guy I met a few times. I don't even know his name. There's a guy I met a few times, lives up near Milford, has a Yamaha, I think it's an FZ. It's a newer one. I remember it's a newer one, so I'm pretty sure it's an FZ09. If we both start moving from low speed, his torque, he will just leave me. There's nothing I can do about it. But if I'm in the gear I need to be in, and we both get on it, I'm a little bit faster than him, and I'm lighter than him. So even though it's not the main selling point of a naked, this bike is faster than an FZ09. It's also priced about in between an 07 and a 09. So this bike, it is quite a bit cheaper than even a Gixxer 600. And in a straight line, I'll say once you get to the top end, the 600 is still a little bit faster than this. Get down low, this is faster than Gixxer 600. Excuse my terrible downshifts. I've been riding the Harley. It takes a different hand it takes quite a bit of a different hand to blip on a Harley. Because this thing, you touch it, 5,000 RPM. Yeet! She was powering up there a little bit. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of reasons why I bought this bike. I mean, in my opinion, speed for power, power for money, speed, it's fantastic. That guy wanted me to wheelie. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm so bad at wheeling. I don't do it anymore because I'm so bad. I don't even wheel anymore because I'm so bad at it. I used to practice wheeling with my dual sport. Man, I was so bad at it. I just gave up. I mean, I'm kind of a shit rider. I mean, I'm good in corners. I do know how to handle acceleration, but I suck at wheeling. I mean, I can get the wheel up there, but I can't hold it there. It's not staying there. But yeah, in my opinion, the performance you get for the money is untouchable. These brakes on this bike, they're so good. Like I said, when I've ridden an MT-07, it didn't stop. It just doesn't stop. There's no feel to them. It doesn't stop very well. I mean, I don't want to have to buy a bike and upgrade the brakes immediately. I've done that already. Honestly, my Sportster has better brakes than the MT-07. Now, I do have a Roadster, but it has better brakes than an MT-07. Yeah, and I think ultimately it comes down to that big thing of the handling. The handling is one of the things that in this class, I mean, from what I hear, of course I haven't, you know, test shred some of these bikes, you have to go European to get this kind of handling on a naked. Unless maybe you get that new, like, Kawasaki H2Z. I mean, that'll probably handle well because it's going to be expensive as shit. And you have to put amazing suspension and brakes and tires on a bike that has a supercharged 1000. I mean, that's just a given. Unless you want to die. I mean, I'm already scared of those bikes. I wouldn't ride an H2. I just wouldn't ride an H2. Wouldn't do it. Someone could put an H2 right down in front of me and say, hey, ride this. Be like, heaven, no. 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 Yeah, and I mean, of all those, you know, Japanese nakeds I've ridden, Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, and mind you, I did ride the Z300. It doesn't have the best suspension. It doesn't have the best brakes because it is small, affordable, but it is lightweight. But the 07 as well. I mean, it's not much less than this. Hardly at all. Actually, if I remember correctly, if you get this without ABS, they're the same price. Now, this one does have ABS, which I don't know why I got the bike with ABS. Actually, that's a lie. The reason why I got the bike with the ABS is because the one that doesn't have the ABS came in like this matte gray, matte black kind of thing with like kind of maroon accents, and I wasn't feeling it. And I didn't want to have to upkeep a matte paint job on a motorcycle. But this one came with this gloss pearl white. If I get a shot at night, I'll show it to you guys. If I ever take you guys on a little night ride, when the light hits this paint at night, you see the blue and you see the metal flakes shine through, and it is absolutely gorgeous. When you do get the blue accents, I also added some blue bits to it. Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys, I do a ton of research, and I do like to try things out before I buy it. And that's how I landed on this, the GSX-S. And I've had this thing almost a year now, put about 1,500 miles on it, which for me isn't a lot, considering I put about 600 on the Harley in a month. But I live so close to work that I just wasn't riding as much. And also at the time I still had my Veloster, which was fairly new to me when I got this. So I drove my Veloster a lot. I put a decent amount of miles on that thing when I had it. But yeah, I mean, this bike isn't perfect. I do have some qualms with it. I'll say. Some issues, couple issues. So working this menu up here, changing certain settings is a pain in the fucking ass. It's not awful. I do have buttons over here, miles per gallon. Average mile per gallon, which is pretty bad because I've rather pissed at this thing. I do have a range. Now I do have a couple different trips, brightness, and odometer. Now I do have fuel gauge. I do have a very nice tack that goes across the top. I'll take that one. Very nice tack that goes across the top. Fuel gauge, water gauge, actual clock for the time. There's no date, just time. And then it has speed and gear. So it's not the most advanced, it's not like a super crazy new TFT display that everyone else is putting on their bikes, including Suzuki. The new Gixxer, I'm pretty sure, does have one. I think the new Versys has one. So it's not like the most crazy, new, impressive display, but it gets the job done. It's very easy to see, and I don't really have any complaints with it. It does its job very well. Ow! So my motovlogging setup's not perfect, and the adapter cord from my mic to my GoPro is like slapping my neck in the wind, and it's just like this little bit. It's just this little bit, but it stings like a motherfucker. Oh my god. But yeah, if this audio quality right now sucks, I'm sorry. I have yet to test this thing up at speeds above like 50, 60 miles an hour. I think I only hit like 80 back there. I'm not moving too fast. I'm gonna get this corner a little bit though. Take a little looky at this turny. But yeah, I mean the display there, it's decent, it's solid, it's nothing super crazy. And of course, I was touching on ergos a little bit before. Long trip comfort is still not good. I mean, it is a little bit more relaxed sport bike feel. So after a while, your back will get to you a little bit. The seat, it's not the best shape. Of course, you know, I'm a big boy, so most seats aren't very comfortable for me. The Harley, even though it's not as wide, is more comfortable for me, which is interesting. It's for short trips, it's fine, and I do feel very planted on the bike. Like, the bike is very, very nice feel on how the ergos are set up. I can't answer that right now. That's my girl. Alright, let's hit this corner real quick. And now, I haven't ridden this bike in a little while. I'm a little rusty. I'm not a professional, so I'm not going to go too fast. I'm only going about 50. You have to be a little careful. It tightens up right here, and then you got the bump. That is what you call yeet. What is going on there? COVID response team 2020. I'm about to be stuck behind a fucking dump truck, ain't I? Yep. The ergos, they're not perfect, but they're not bad. Taller riders, this bike's not the best. As you might be able to see, I am flat-footed. There's not too much bend in my knees. This bike does sit up fairly high. Now you can adjust the rear shock a little bit. There's some adjustment there. The front, there's no adjustment. That's one reason why this does cost less than a sport bike. Than a Gixxer, you have no adjustment on these front shocks. The rear, you don't have quite as much, but it's still very good. Now, speaking of ride quality, the suspension, it's a little bit softer than a Gixxer. It's still very firm. Still a very firm suspension, especially for lighter people. This will be a little bit brutal of a bike if you're used to, like, say, a cruiser style, or if you're used to one of the MTO bikes. The MT bikes have very soft suspension. This does not. Which is one reason why it handles so well, in my opinion. But ride quality is not the best for it. Now, one big issue I did have with this bike as well, it's a little bit on the ergos, are the foot pegs. And if I remember, I might forget, to be honest with you. If I remember right here, I'll post a picture of the stock foot pegs that I took off. The curb feelers on them are so goddamn long. we got the stoplight right here. I did know it was there. Sorry, dump truck, I do not want to be behind you. But yeah, the feelers on the curb, the feelers on the pegs, they were like probably that long. That's not really exaggerating. So almost every time I go around a corner, I'd get those curb feelers going. And it was literally a hindrance on the riding because I didn't want to get over because I would just be on the curb feelers. So I'll cut it right here. This is something I did change, and it just made a world of difference. I don't know if it was just an oversight or a stupid decision on Suzuki's part, but these are some Puj foot pegs. Now, I do also have the Puj levers right here, but I hate stock levers. There's very few bikes that like stock levers, so I was going to go to aftermarket levers anyway. But I got these Puj levers. You basically buy the part that goes on the bike, and then you buy the actual peg, so you can choose which color you want. You can choose which style you want. I went with kind of the race style that doesn't really have any rubber in it. What is... There's a bike there. It just scares me when even though he was far away, it scares me when I see someone that's coming over into my lane. It freaks me the hell out. But yeah, I got these Puj foot pegs. And they do make the ones with the rubber. They make wider ones. They have tons of options, actually. But the reason why I went with these is aesthetics. I thought they were the coolest looking. But I don't really regret it. Now, I do feel a little bit through them, but this engine is I learned how to talk one day, I promise. But this engine, it's so smooth. I mean, you know, if you guys have ridden inline 4 bikes, you get it. They're very smooth bikes. So, it doesn't bother me, honestly. And they're not too crazy priced. I want to say the adapters are about 25-30 bucks. The pegs themselves, I want to say these are about 30-35 for both of them. And some might cost more or less. No. Some might cost more or less depending on which one you decide you want. But I do highly recommend the Puj stuff. There are other options for this bike out there. But I ended up buying their levers because I was looking at different levers, what you get for the price. And I ended up just deciding on these, and I'm super happy with them. They have adjustment on them. They feel so solid. I mean, they feel as rock solid, and they're machined so well. I couldn't find any imperfections, any burrs on them, or anything. And I do have both of them. And they do have stainless hardware, because even after installing them, you can't see any rust in them at all. As we're on this bolt right here, there's actually just a tiny bit of rust. Just purely from scuffing it, because my fucking hands. And then you get some rust on it after the coating comes off. But none of the bolts on either one of these have, you know, had anything like that. Yeah, the Puj products, I definitely recommend them. They've fixed some complaints I have with this bike tremendously. Now, I haven't actually changed that much on this bike. Of course, up front, the headlight, it's kind of an old school, even with the looks, it's a little bit more old school kind of reflector style halogen bulb, which it sucks ass. It really does. Now, I do have an LED in here. I have some LEDs in the marker lights as well, but it still doesn't look that great, to be honest with you. And the headlight's not very good at night, but I really don't ride this bike at night. I really only ride in the daytime, just because when I ride this bike, I know I'm gonna get on it. Now, I've been pretty good today. But the thing is, I can get on the Harley a lot more, and I'll be going slower than if I'm kind of cruising around on this. Because, I mean, it's fast. It's a fast bike. But yeah, the headlight, it's not the greatest. I don't even hate how it looks, as where some people do. But come on, Suzuki, at least give me a fucking projector inside the housing. Alright, sorry for the pause, guys. I had to call my girl back. Once I stopped, I had to call her back. But this is one little feature I love about this bike so much. It basically you basically tap the starter and it starts. See that? Fucking love it. And it also watches RPMs, no throttle. It has like a takeoff assist thing, which is actually really nice, because if you've ever driven one of these inline fours, you know they don't want to take off too well. They definitely just because of the way they're cammed, they definitely want some revs to go. Now I know I probably could go inside here, but I don't know. I mean, even though you can technically walk inside and order and leave, there's no one's doing it. It feels weird doing it. And this isn't the first time I've gotten food through a drive-thru, so I feel like I'm a little bit of a professional at this point. Before I get up there, I take this glove off so I can grab my card, make my card, put it in an easy position and grab it. One thing that I'm having a little bit of trouble with doing is actually slowing myself down when I talk and leaving a little bit of space between my sentences. I've always had kind of an issue with mumbling, just because I tend to talk fast, and then all my words tend to kind of jumble together a little bit. So one thing that I'm actually hoping that this helps is with my enunciation and just slowing down a little bit, just talking a little quieter and saying what I have to say properly. Yeah, can I get 2 McChickens and 2 McDoubles? And that'd be it. McDonald's. You like a Macas? Yeah, I mean, I actually haven't had McDonald's in a long time. It's something that, you know, when you get older, you kind of start eating McDonald's a little less. Start going to other fast food places. Start realizing McDonald's is kind of garbo. It's not even a great value anymore. The Yoshi too loud. Got the Yoshi pipe. Yoshi Murder. Hiya, good Yoshi Murder Kaste. Under Suzuki. Oh, Suzuki. Yamahake Wakasage. Oh, Honda Subaru. Alright, thank you. Oh, yeah, the Miko. Miko Danid. What's Ford doing? For a second I thought that was like a fucking rent-a-cop, because they got just random ass stickers on the side of the doors. I don't get it with people with the placements on certain stickers. And there's some stickers that people put on. I mean, I don't know. I can't judge. I've sticker bombed stuff before. I have no business judging in the slightest. We don't have a stop here, bud. Come on, bud. Okay, bud. Go there, bud. I ain't gonna lie, I can smell this McDonald's through my backpack. Man, the police are out in force today, dude. I don't get it. I've never seen this many cops in Salisbury in one day. And it looks like they've all been city cops, too. They haven't been, like, troopies. I did see that one guy pulled over, but I have a feeling that they're going to certain businesses and checking in and making sure people are doing what they're supposed to. Oh yeah, the GSX. I hope I got my point across well enough to you guys. And yeah, I recommend, at least checking it out. If you're looking for a new bike, you're looking for a naked, you're looking under 10 grand, and take a look at this thing. I mean, you'll definitely get it under 10 grand after taxes and tags. And it's a really fun bike. I mean, I fucking love this bike. And it's one of those things that not a lot of people will talk about these bikes. But people that have ridden these bikes, they will. Oh my god. Speaking of cops, you see that freaking wrecked Salisbury PD car? The Tahoe? Jesus, what is going on? Yeah, I'm definitely going home because it feels like fucking anarchy right now. I've had a couple people spooking me driving around. Man, I definitely shouldn't be out here. Not even just for COVID, just for other reasons. I don't trust anyone right now on the road. That's one thing too, man. You ever get that uneasy feeling when riding a bike? Just avoid situations. Just avoid as many situations as you can. Because, I mean, riding's fun as shit. Riding fast is fun. But, man, you gotta stay safe. There's a time and a place to have fun. Like me coming out of that on-ramp, there were no cars close to me. There were no cars close to me when I did that. So, fuck it. If you're by yourself on the road, you can be an asshole. But, here around town, I mean, you gotta be careful. You gotta be vigilant. I mean, y'all probably noticed too. I mean, I'm constantly like looking down at my mirror, shoulder checking, all kinds of shit. This F-150 is a little close. I'll give them a pass, though. I tend to trust contractors a little more, just because they do a lot of driving for work, and they're used to driving their big old trucks. As we're like this guy in front of us driving this King Ranch F-150, I wouldn't trust him as much as this contractor behind me driving this F-350 or 450. Yep, he's going to pass me. But see, he got over before he tried to pass me. He didn't just speed up and try to go, which I really appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, you gotta stay alert in these streets. These streets are hard, man. Gotta stay alert, gotta stay vigilant in these streets. I mean, really, you do, you really do. Oh man, yeah, for sure. Going back home, and too many spooks, too many shenanigans. Say shenanigans one more time. El Rancho, that place looks new. Get high now, smoke to get vibes. Semi to tuck the semi. Keep it on the east side, keep it on the B side. Feels like I've been dragging a little bitch, and if he dies, he dies. 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 Yep, pull him. I can't sing the rest of the song. I don't know. Oh man. I hope y'all have listened to the Carter 5. I mean, I know it's not new anymore, but it's new enough. And people don't talk about Lil Wayne like they used to. Man, the Carter 5, it's up there with the Carter 3. Honestly, I kind of like the Carter 5 more than the Carter 3. It's because the Carter 3 was a bit more a product of its time. They come in here quick. I don't trust anyone coming over that overpass. Yeah, I mean, the Carter 5, it's probably my favorite work from Lil Wayne. I mean, you got Used To, you got Dope, N-Words. Can't say the name of the song. It's a fantastic song, though. You got Mona Lisa with Kendrick. Oh my god. That's my favorite song on the album. Are you just... Okay, bud. Okay, bud. You're not a police officer. But yeah, man, the Carter 5. If y'all haven't listened to it yet, man, especially if y'all some old heads like me, which I know I'm 25, but man, I'm listening to basically the stuff the old heads listen to. You know, I'm the guy that says hip hop ain't like it used to be. I mean, every now and then you'll get that guy come in. I mean, I like some of the stuff the Migos did. I like the Baby, but a lot of his stuff starts to sound the same. But he still got songs I really like. Man, the Carter 5 is straight fire. That dog does not like motorcycles. But yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts on the Suzuki GSX, the current generation GSX, 18 to 20, probably still be around for a few more years before they update it. Alright, well, my girl's back, done with my review. Talk to y'all later. Y'all be good.